I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So welcome to our May 2nd Tiverton School Committee meeting. I just want to be clear about one thing. This meeting was added in order to address some things in regular business that we were not able to address at our previous couple of meetings, and to receive legal advice. So that's why there's no open forum, and won't be doing public comment on any of the items. The budget, of course, will be addressed at many other meetings in the future. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I'll ask for a vote. Mrs. Pavo,
Yes.
Mrs. Farnworth,
Yes.
Mrs. Palish.
Yes.
I vote yes. Next is item 4, old business, update on forensic audit, school committee resolution, possible vote. Ms. Roderick, I don't know, is it me or is it? There's a lot of feedback. No? Oh, okay. Anyway, any updates on the forensic audit?
So the only activity we've had is we had a Zoom call with them. I think you're aware of that. And then they have scheduled some interviews with myself and my staff and Dr. Sanchioni and some others for the day of May 8th, just to gather information about our processes and procedures. I've had some emails to log into or create an account for their information portal, which I have not done yet, but I have not received any formal information requests at this time.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm going to ask to table the resolution. I've sort of been thinking about it, and my motivation for actually bringing it to the prior meeting was because while this has been going on, while the school committee, town council originally decided to proceed with a forensic audit about 1.5 years ago, there really has not been any activity. And there has never been, to date, any presentation to us of any information that would suggest that they have some reason to undergo this. And in fact, in their own meetings, they acknowledged that they were proceeding with it on the basis of postings on social media and essentially rumor and innuendo. But sort of in the spirit, I guess, of still trying to get along with them, I'm not sure they're working too hard at getting along with us, given some of the content of some of their meetings. I'm going to just table that resolution. I don't know if anybody else has any other comments on the forensic audit or lack thereof to date.
I only have one comment, and this has to do with the very definition of what a forensic audit is. And I think it's important for all of us to understand what that is, because it is a serious activity, and anyone can look this up. But you know, according to, and I just did this by Google today, even though as an accountant I was fully aware of what it is. A forensic audit is an examination and evaluation of a firm's or individual's financial records. During a forensic audit, an auditor seeks to derive evidence that can potentially be used in court. A forensic audit is used to uncover criminal behavior, such as fraud or embezzlement. And I think, we all need to be mindful of exactly how serious this is, and really the impetus for how this all began in February of 2023, to Dr. Larkin's point, not only because of the town council's new role in appropriating the school budget, but also based upon social media rumors of impropriety. So I look forward to seeing it complete.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to move on to item 5A, meeting with the Tiverton Town Council. As everyone recalls, we were scheduled to meet with the Town Council on April 27th to discuss our budget. They canceled that meeting and rescheduled us for May 4th, which is this Saturday. And I needed to let them know, they had not asked, but that we were not able to attend, several of us are not able to attend that meeting, including the superintendent and our director of finance, and asked them to reschedule. They said no. I sent an email to them on Tuesday saying I thought that that was a mistake to have a meeting without us being there about our budget. And I got responses from two of the counselors. One said that they thought that this was going to be a preliminary meeting and that they would develop their questions. And the other was that they would, that we would have other opportunities to go before them. Mind you, they have to adopt a preliminary budget, I believe, by May 13th, if I've got the dates right. If not, then it's shortly, it's around that date, so they don't have too much more time. But the answer was they were going ahead with the meeting, despite not having requested dates from us to figure out when we could all meet together. And they did not, for the most part, respond to my request to find another time. So, anybody has any other thoughts or would like me to communicate with them in any other way, please let me know. Feel free to speak now about it.
I just, like to say, express my disappointment. I would have been available last weekend, and I'm not sure why they canceled. That was the plan, and I made sure I was available. But I can't this weekend.
And nor can I, and nor can Ms. Roderick or Dr. Sanchioni. So, and I think one thing that's been clear is that people would like us to collaborate with them, and we are doing everything we can to do so. So.
Could I just, could we get together, we don't have to do it now or afterwards because we can coordinate dates via email. Can we get some dates in the next few weeks that people, I understand.
Yeah.
They didn't ask for them and they may not ask for another meeting, but can we get some dates together that at least our administration can be there in the next few weeks and just email the entire council in the morning and just give them those dates? I understand that they may, we can't make them meet with us if they don't want to meet with us, so we can't make them collaborate with us if they don't want to collaborate with us, but we can at least put some dates out there that, again, we would be available and not, and especially our administrators, and just put those dates out there in the next few weeks. And if they choose not to take advantage of that, then that really is their choice. So if you want to coordinate that after this meeting or in the morning and get those dates to them tomorrow.
Yeah, I will. We could do it now, actually.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know I've got a lot of things going on professionally, so do not feel like you need me to be there.
Well, I think that, I think that
I will do
was.
my best.
I think I think that's just the realization that not every member can always be there,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So so next week, so they're meeting on Saturday, that's the 4th. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Diane, you always have a good grasp of this. I think it's the 13th that they have to adopt a preliminary budget. Is that correct?
I don't have my budget book with me this.
Do you remember, Amy?
I don't remember the
But you know what?
You guys
That's-
had the schedule in the budget book.
specific-
Oh, I have it.
Unfortunately, I didn't bring it with me.
I have it.
didn't either.
I have it. Where is it?
I think it's toward the end. What?
But at any rate, so of Monday through Friday next week, what days would be,
I can be available any.
okay?
What are you asking for next week?
So what days so next week is the,
Yep, and you want to know Monday?
Monday through Friday, what's
Yeah.
your availability?
I can do any day next week as well, but let's start with our administrators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not that we're irrelevant, but Tuesday, Thursday?
Okay.
Amy, Sarah?
That works.
Tuesday, Thursday, Amy?
So the
I cannot do
7th.
Tuesday, but I can do any other day of the week. So it sounds-
Cannot do Tuesday?
Cannot do Tuesday.
And you
Okay.
cannot do Wednesday? So what about,
Thursday?
So the
so
9th,
Thursday?
all right, so 9th is,
Is Monday a possibility?
we won't be able to post.
Oh, yeah, we won't, you're right. And
So
then,
the- actually, the
people don't like to work on, or meet on
earliest-
Fridays. How about Saturday?
I cannot on the 11th.
Okay,
Okay, so Thursday the 9th.
seems to be the best.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, just throw that out there. I mean. And
So
then, and then if that doesn't work, we can certainly, I mean, like, I think the preliminary
Start
number,
again.
the preliminary number needs to be out there, but there's still time to have a
Yeah,
final
there's
number. So,
the hearing and then they adopt a final budget.
right, so let's at least present another date, and that's all we can do.
Okay.
So May 13th, the town council has to vote on a preliminary budget, and then by June 30th, a final
Yeah,
budget.
as I
okay,
said,
so
so
it's the
there's like
13th.
a whole nother
Yeah,
month and
they
a
have-
half.
They have to adopt it, then they have to schedule the financial town hearing, and then they have to adopt the final budget on the 30th.
So at least, we can throw at the 9th, and then if they want to come back with some other dates in the following week, even though they've adopted something preliminarily, we
They
can,
may still want to,
yep. But that's all we can do.
may be willing to talk.
I will say that, like Diane, I was a little frustrated because it's akin to meeting on the fire department budget without the town administrator and the chief of police there, or the fire chief. By not having our superintendent and our director of finance there, that would be, like I said, meeting on the DPW budget without the town administrator and the DPW head, that if you're gonna, you need to have the
subject matter
the
experts.
subject matter experts in the room. And I understand it's preliminary, and I'm happy to hear that at least a few people said to you that, it's really just to kind of wrap their heads around the information and get some questions. So I'm happy to hear that. Okay.
Yep. Okay, we're up to item 5B, Civil Rights Compliance Review Report. Dr. Sanchioni?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packet, you have a report from the Department of Education outlining the civil rights review that the district went through this year. And as you've come to expect from us, the report highly commends the district for following all the civil rights laws and responsibilities that are placed upon us. As you can see.
Can you describe exactly what that is and sort of the requirements for it, or what?
Sure, so it's all the, it's the
Periodicity
Title
of it.
IV of the Civil Rights Act, it's Title IX, the Education Amendment Act, it's Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, and all the things that come under that, and making sure our policies and procedures align with federal law. But not only do they align, but do we actually follow them? So they talk to people who work in these categories, and are these things actually taking place here? And then they specifically then targeted our CTE programs. Are we admitting students of all race, origin, color, creed, females, males, and all that type of stuff? Do kids have equal access and opportunity to the curriculum? Do they have equal access and opportunity to teachers and things of that nature? So it's a pretty extensive review. I wouldn't say it's on any type of cycle. It's just every once in a while your district comes up and it's your turn. But again, I'm very, very pleased with the report. And I'd like to turn this over to Sarah right now. And I know Lee Cusimano's here. She had a lot to do with this and the success we had in this report. And so I'll let Sarah tell you a little more about it.
Thank you. Like Dr. Sanchioni said, it was really reviewing 3 areas of discrimination. Title VI, discrimination of race, color, and national origin. Title IX, prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sex, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, discrimination of the basis of disability. So it included an extensive review of a lot of our policies and procedures as a district, and then policies and procedures as a CTE program. In addition to that review, there was an on-site visit, or actually that ended up happening virtually, with district administration, building administration, the CTE teachers, as well as students who are in the CTE program. And I'm just going to highlight a few things for you. There was 2 members from RIDE who really headed this review for us. And Dr. Matsko emailed both Peter and I and said these two things in her email correspondence. Tiverton High School did very well. There were violations for only one standard, which is commendable in and of itself. There are times when I struggle to come up with a commendation in a letter of findings. I easily included 3 in your letter. In over a decade I've been doing these reviews. This is a first. So I'm glad Leah's here because I did want to give her a shout out as well as Principal Craven, because when you get a review like this, it's because it was done by design, and they've taken the time to really ensure that all of these procedures are part of every part of the CTE program.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the committee?
I would expect no less from Ms. Guzmano. Okay. Anything you touch turns to gold. And we thank you so much for always being involved in so many of these initiatives and reviews. And we're certainly very proud of everything that you're involved in.
Oh, thank you. But again, I keep coming up here and saying a couple of the same things. Without the proper leadership, starting from, even when we had our NEASC report, they basically said that there's been so much alignment and so much communication from our superintendent, our assistant superintendent, to our principal, then right down to our faculty. That's why we've been successful. I want to thank Sarah Krager's wonderful leadership. She's been extremely supportive. I have to absolutely thank Principal Craven for creating a schedule that allows for all students to have access to all our CTE programs. So, for example, in our school, we have 56% of our students are in some type of CTA pathway. And this year we have one student, Aiden Larson, who's going to be graduating by completing 2 pathways. One in computer science, which he earned 12 URI credits, and he also is completing the engineering program to be earning credits through the Project Lead the Way program. There are lots of different areas. Our life skills students, they stood out quite a bit. We have 11 students in our life skills program, and 56% of our students are enrolled in the CTA pathway. And they actually interviewed I gave up with 15 students, and she goes, back off, give me 8. And we had students that spoke from the life skills program. We had students who transferred here from Bristol Warren. We had students who transferred here from Portsmouth. We had students who are in our current programs who are Tiverton residents, and they also spoke, students with 504s, IEPs, social and emotional struggles. Our kids are very honest, and they portrayed us, they were alone in the room, and they just talked freely about how well they felt we supported them. There are 5 areas: admissions, recruitment, looking at our minority students, counseling, supports, work-study programs, and job placement. And in every one of those areas, there was no recommendations whatsoever. They felt that we hit it and hit it well. Again, I just want to just a couple of shout-outs to the teachers. Our visual arts department cannot do what we're doing without Kevin Callisto and Anna Tracy. Our engineering program, Jim Gouch, who was part of the meetings, and he was commended because he had 33% of our students are females in that pathway, which is beginning to close the gender equity gap. Andy Gaychuk got the biggest shout out because the public safety program has 67% of its females. So we're definitely closing the gender equity gap. There also was a shout out in that commentation about how we had the opportunity in the state. They offered for all the high schools to have teachers come and learn about disabled students. And not only had one person, we had many people that wanted to go, but we requested for several more people to go, and they could only award us just up to 2. And we're the only district that had 2 teachers to go and do that. And it was Adam Tracy and Kevin Callisto. I'd like to thank Billy Phillips for his work in the carpentry program, because our female population is beginning to grow. Our CNA program, I'd like to thank Lindsay Cordero, our school nurse, and Matt McGuire. We're beginning some males coming into that program. Computer science, Judy Moore, who gets those kids getting those 12 UI credits. And again, back to Andy Gaychuk and Dylan Sheridan for that pathway. And that's it. Any questions? Or
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
There are a few things that we do have to follow up on as part of the review. We've already started that process with RIDE. Our recommendations for the follow-up has been approved, so we have a plan on getting that back to RIDE by June 30th. It will include some policy changes in some policies or amendments, so we will need to schedule a policy subcommittee meeting. But that's it.
Okay.
Well, you beat me to the punch. I was, of course, going to ask you about the very small number of required corrective actions and recommendations aside. And there is a reference in this report to your completing a voluntary compliance plan. Is that what you're expecting to get over to RIDE?
Yes, so we submitted that to RIDE, it was approved, and then it's just completing the tasks that are on that.
Okay, I'd like us to see a copy of that as well.
Absolutely, yep. Actually, we just, Dr. Sanchioni has to sign it, send it to them, and then they'll send it back to us.
I think, in full transparency, let's make sure that it
Yeah.
comes out in the meeting, that we take a look at it, we recognize the actions that you'll be taking. But I absolutely do commend all of you for the great job. That is very clear within this report. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Pavo, anything? Elaine, anything?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. All right, thanks, Lee. Great job, as always. All right. Item 5C, approved THS assistant principal contract.
Mr. Chair, I'd ask you to hold that till after executive session.
Okay. Item 5D, approved attendance officers for truancy program. Dr. Sanchioni.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So when you may recall at our last meeting, I asked you to vote to allow the magistrates from the local court to come in and help us with attendance issues, and you accepted that and the ability of them to come here and make it more convenient. The second step is to make sure that every school has an identified attendance officer. So I've outlined for you the 5 schools and the 5 attendance officers that will recommend if I get your approval for this, then we send this in to the magistrate and they know who they're working with.
Can I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, any discussion? Mrs. Farnworth?
So I have a couple of questions. Is it a requirement that there be a truancy officer at each school?
Yes.
Is that
For
a
this
state
program.
requirement?
I'm not sure if it's codified in state law, but as part of the magistrate coming to your school, they ask us to identify a truancy officer or
Okay.
attendant.
Will you be coming up with a district-wide common approach to this particular program? My concern is that, if you've got 5 individuals representing their school, that there may be some differences in the interpretations that are required.
So, yes, but it's already in place. So we follow the RIDE model that any time a student is at 10% of missed days, whatever point in the year, so if it's, day 80 and you've missed 10 days, you're targeting that. And so when that happens, those are the students we target. So at the times when the magistrate would be here, whatever day of the school year that is, out of the 180, students who are hitting that factor of 10% would be the ones we'd be targeting. And of course, there's a lot of factors that go into days out too, so we factor that in.
Okay. And then as far as the individuals, your appointment, I'm noticing middle school has the principal, high school has the assistant principal.
I let the administrators choose who they thought would be best for this program.
So these folks have volunteered.
Yeah, in some way, I guess.
I'm familiar with the term voluntold, don't worry.
Volunteer.
That was, and then I guess lastly, it would be, the results of the proceedings that take place in this magistrate program, will those be kept on file in the central office?
No, they'd be designated to that student's file and that parent.
And that is it?
That is it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mrs. Pavo, any questions about?
No.
Mrs. Polish?
My only clarification is they are volunteers.
Our administrators?
Know that they are volunteering, they are not being paid to serve as a
No,
truancy
this is part of
officer.
their job, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. This takes, it'll be put, during the school day, it's part of their response. Some of these already are the ones going to the court in Newport, so they're thrilled to have it here in Tiverton, yep.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a vote. Mrs. Pava?
Yes.
Mrs. Farnworth?
Yes.
Mrs. Palish?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion passes. Next is the item 5E, FICA alternative plan. I'm going to make a motion to reconsider our vote of March 12th.
I'll second.
So motion's been made. There were some concerns raised by Mr. Napolitano and Council 94. I was wondering if you could, and he's not here.
No, Dr. Larkin, in front of you, you have a letter that he submitted. He's in negotiations within another district tonight, and he asked that.
Oh. I don't think I'm going to have time to read it right now.
No, I can just summarize it for you. There's a lot in there, but in the essence of it is he's asking to negotiate that. He feels that that is a benefit provided for in the contract, and as a result, he'd like to just open up negotiations with the school committee to talk about the impact and moving forward.
So I think that that is a good idea and the appropriate thing to do. So I would support doing that. So I'll open the floor to other concerns or questions. Mrs. Palish?
That, obviously, originally I was a no, and this was one of the reasons. And I do want to thank, Council 94 and Silvio for reaching back out to us and saying, please, we have a good relationship. Can we just talk about this, negotiate this? And I do appreciate him acknowledging that good relationship and feeling comfortable enough that he could come back to us and ask for this to be reopened.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Pava?
Diane has something.
Yeah, I know. You go first. if you
Okay.
want.
The problem I have with this is that it was the union's, I'll say Silvio's job to reach out to these people. This was something that was discussed more than once. We were given information, I think it was twice. It wasn't our job to reach out to them, in my opinion, that's my personal opinion. It was the union representative, Silvio's job. Nobody talked about this. No, they didn't discuss it. Nobody knew it was going to happen until we got this letter, and we did receive an email of some sort. That's the problem I have. Why didn't anyone know that this was happening until the vote happened? I just have a problem because I feel that there was a lack of communication from the leadership of Council 94, the state leadership, not the school department leadership, until now, until the vote was taken, and they're saying they knew nothing about it. I just have a problem with that, that's all.
Okay. Mrs. Barnworth?
As you're aware, I was a no initially with this. And I do want to give full credit to the school department employees in Council 94 who really were not a part of the conversations or given an opportunity to raise any concerns. Regardless of the fact that they are part-time and they're very low-paid, they are valued. And I'm proud that they have reached out to their union representation to challenge this, and they should have a say in this item. It should be something that is negotiated through collective bargaining, and just as the case was with Ms. Palash, that was one of my initial concerns as well, that the collective bargaining unit wasn't engaged.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a vote, and just to make sure that we all understand what we're voting, the motion is to reconsider, so a yes vote negates the vote that we took on March 12th and puts us back to that date. So, Mrs. Pava?
No.
Mrs. Palish?
Yes?
Mrs. Farnworth?
Yes.
I vote yes, so motion passes. So the original vote of March 12th is reversed or expunged, I don't know what the right word is. I guess the question is, do you need a motion to enter into negotiations I don't think you do, since the contract already exists.
But I'll remind you that it was Mr. Dakotas and you, Dr. Larkin, who were on that negotiating team, I believe. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
You were.
No, no, no.
Nope.
No,
You're
I
right.
was
You
not.
did NEA.
Never
My
was.
apologies. Ms. Palish and Ms. Farnworth were Council 94. So
NEA either.
I'll work with you two
I'm
on a
avoiding
date
all
that is convenient for you and then try to coordinate with Council 94.
Okay, sounds good.
Was I on? Oh, I was on NEA.
You are on NEA.
How did I let that happen to me? All right. Future meetings, we have a finance subcommittee on May 14th, school committee meeting on May 14th, maybe a meeting with the town council May 9th, I guess we'll see. Anything else in terms of announcements or future meetings? Okay, under Rhode Island General Law 42465A1, job performance, character, physical, or mental health, administrative contracts. Rhode Island General Law 42465A4, legal advice on forensic audit. Rhode Island General Law 42465A4, legal advice on the FY25 budget. I'll ask for a motion to enter into executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, and just for clarification, under 7A, Dr. Larkin, that individual has been notified and has chosen to have it in executive. Yes, thank you.
Okay, ask for a vote. Mrs. Palish?
Yes.
Mrs. Farnworth?
Yes.
Mrs. Pavo?
Yes.
I vote yes, we're in executive session.